Well, an update now to a bombshell story we brought you last week. Last week, Dan Cohen from Uncaptured Media revealed the plans to rebuild Gaza using concentration camps, yes, orchestrated by the CIA. These concentration camps would keep Palestinians in them under 24-hour surveillance using biometric scanners. Well, now we know who's actually behind this. Yes, the very same face behind the counterinsurgency strategy in Afghanistan and Iraq, the failed counterinsurgency strategy in Iraq and Afghanistan. And Dan Cohen from Uncaptured Media is back. Dan, it's been a very busy weekend. I mean, on the front part of this, you have Israel this weekend admitting that their war is essentially failing, that they have no compass. This isn't like some left-wing newspaper report. This is coming right from Israel itself. And now we have this bombshell new report that you've just uncovered about who's actually behind these concentration camps. Break it all down for us, if you would.
Yeah, Clayton. So the Israeli defense minister, Yoav Gallant, on Sunday admitted, he wrote in a letter to Benjamin Netanyahu and the security cabinet that the war is being conducted without a compass. So they really don't have any strategy. They don't know what they're doing. They're just going to occupy areas in Gaza. They, of course, kill a lot of civilians, but they don't actually defeat the armed resistance groups, namely Hamas or Palestinian Islamic Jihad, the kind of junior partner here. So then they go on to the next one, and the Palestinian resistance continues to exist. And meanwhile, Israel's losing soldiers on nearly a daily basis. And over the last month, things have gotten much worse as it's gone into Lebanon, and it's losing even more soldiers. So the whole image of Israel that it's going to be able to defeat these resistance forces is failing. I mean, 2 weeks ago, we saw Hezbollah manage to hit Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's house with a suicide drone. So things are not going well for the Israelis, and Gallant admitted as much here. So what they've done is now, he said in this letter, we need an alternative to Hamas rule in Gaza. So they want to basically have regime change by one way or another. They need a strategy to approve that, or to achieve that, rather. And so now the Biden administration, which, again, not really Biden, not really Kamala Harris, neither of whom have any idea what's going on. Biden obviously is senile, and I don't know what Kamala's excuse is, but I'm sure she's got one. Jake Sullivan is running the show in the Biden administration, this unelected bureaucrat, and he has approved a plan concocted by none other than the father, the face of the failed counterinsurgency doctrine strategy, the so-called surge in Iraq, David Petraeus, who not only did he fail there, but he also, when he was briefly the CIA director under Obama, he slept with his biographer and gave her classified information. So not a very upstanding character.
Now we're elevating David Petraeus once again. Like this guy, a deep state swamp rat who basically gave away classified information, basically treasonous against the United States government, is now back in the picture and involved in the rebuilding of Gaza. Like this, you can't make this up.
Yeah, actually, I want to show you this soundbite that I dug up from David Petraeus pitching this concentration camp plan just a few weeks ago.
I believe there should be a vision for the future of the Palestinian people that is similar to the vision that we presented to the people of Iraq before we conducted the major operations that we did there during the surge. And we would go to the people of Fallujah and we would tell them in advance of our operation, we are going to make your lives better. We're going to do it by getting Al-Qaeda out of your neighborhoods. And then we're going to stay in those neighborhoods. We're going to create gated communities, essentially. It's an accurate description, but with much more effective walls. In fact, we would tell them, I said, look, it costs a lot of money to be in a gated community in Florida, and we're going to give it to you for free here in Fallujah.
I mean, he's saying all of that, Dan, with a straight face. Like, this is comparable to like going to Boca Raton in Florida, where you could also probably go golfing. But we're going to do it even better because it's going to be biometrically scanned. We're going to monitor your movements 24/7. Like, it's hilarious that they're actually pitching this, and not even just pitching it, they're going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, he actually, he kind of cracks a little smile. He thinks he's being funny, and you actually hear the laughs from the audience. So I don't know who's in the audience there at Rice University, but that's just total psychopath behavior to think of taking people who have survived an entire year of genocide, who have seen their families killed, taken away into torture, and worse things that happen that maybe we shouldn't mention on air, in these prisons. And David Petraeus, from the comfort of the stage, is joking about rounding these people into these, what he call, gated communities, he likes to call them, where they will not be allowed to receive food or water unless they present a biometric ID that proves they are not affiliated in any way with Hamas. Not just they're a resistance fighter, but if you're a doctor or an engineer that was somehow affiliated with a government municipality or something like that, you're just a regular person, you will be forced to starve. That's what he's proposing. So that's just, it's just the epitome of evil. But what I found, and in my piece that I published at Uncaptured Media, is that David Petraeus actually is set to personally profit from this. He's a partner at a global investment firm called KKR, which is like a junior sort of BlackRock. And KKR owns Constellus, which is the current iteration of Blackwater, the notorious mercenary outfit that was famous and for committing, for example, the Nisour Square massacre in Iraq during the 2006 2007, I believe. And so, of course, it rebranded to Academy and is now Constellus, and David Petraeus' company, his firm, that's one of their assets. Now, Constellus is being contracted by this guy, Mordecai Moti Kahana, who's an Israeli-American businessman who's basically the conduit who's been pitching this to the Israeli Ministry of Defense and to people like the Minister of Defense, Yoav Gallant. So he arranged meetings actually back in November of 2023, he arranged a meeting between an American general who he doesn't identify, who was in Iraq, but is pretty obviously Petraeus, and Gallant and other people from the Ministry of Defense to pitch this. At that point, probably they thought they were going to, cruise to victory in Gaza. But as things have gotten progressively worse, they haven't achieved any of their goals, and they've seen actually more captives turn out to be dead, or they've bombed them themselves. Now they're getting more and more desperate, admitting that they don't actually have any strategy, they don't have any way to win. And so the Ministry of Defense, Gallant, is like, look, we're getting soldiers killed on a daily basis. This isn't going well. We need some kind of way out. And so they are happy. The army chiefs are happy to have some kind of foreign CIA special force come in and run these concentration camps to take the load off the shoulders of the army. That's basically his pitch.
CIA coming into Gaza to build concentration camps, to monitor 24/7 Palestinians, the comings and goings of these people. I mean, I as an American citizen didn't sign up for this. And how are American tax dollars being signed off on by the Biden administration being funneled to this treasonous deep state swamp monster, David Petraeus, is mind-boggling and deeply troubling. He makes the comparison to Fallujah and Iraq, right? He's like, we're going to, protect you, and we're ridding Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda is removed from this area, so we're going to come in and build these high-rise apartment buildings, gated communities, just like Florida. But of course, he's trying to compare that to Gaza. Well, it's totally different, because there's no elimination of Hamas. Hamas is there, arguably just as strong as they were on October 7th. So this idea that you're going to come in and now there's no fighters at all is ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a totally broken strategy from the start. Even in Iraq, it totally failed because, counterinsurgency doctrine is based on this idea that a place is occupied by extremists that don't have any connection to the actual population, and that there's no legitimate complaint from the population. So it's, we're going to separate the civilians from the extremists. We'll take out the civilians and everything will be great. But as long as you're keeping these people in, concentration camps, or you're occupying and controlling their lives, they're going to resist. So it's just this total denial of reality. And that's why it has failed in virtually every instance it's been applied. I mean, in the US experience post World War II, they tried the same thing in Vietnam with the strategic Hamlet plan. That failed. We all know how the Vietnam War ended. In Iraq, in Afghanistan, they did this stuff and it failed every single time, and it guaranteed will fail in Gaza if they even get to try it. I'm skeptical they could even pull it off, because imagine, they take these trucks and take these big cement walls and try to start to erect them in the Gaza Strip. Well, the resistance that's operating in this massive tunnel complex is still very capable. It's not broken down. It's not even an insurgency. They're still operating as a national military where they have phone lines, closed phone lines throughout Gaza, where you have a commander who knows where in Gaza watching on cameras to tell the fighters how to carry out an operation. He's literally watching on cameras they've installed, preparing these operations, and instructing them on exactly what to do, and watching the Israeli army movements. So when that tank or that APC or supply truck comes through, they're able to use an explosive that they've actually manufactured in Gaza. They're taking the Israeli weapons, the Israeli bombs that are duds, that don't explode, and they take those and basically reverse engineer them or turn them into their own improvised explosives in order to carry out these operations. So as long as that's going on and the Israelis really have no answer for that, I think this whole concentration camp concept is pretty much a fantasy, and it's just the Americans, the U.S. government, the CIA is offering the Israelis a different poison than the one they're taking right now, which is just permanent occupation in Gaza with no actual strategy other than just the government wants to stay in power, because they know the second that the government collapses, they go to elections, their heads are going to roll. People are going to want to know, why did October 7th actually happen? How did you let this happen? You failed to protect us. And now all these promises about we're going to win in Gaza and, we're going to win together. That's the big line in Israel. Those are a total farce. So they don't have any way to win. And, they're just taking this thing deeper and deeper into into just a descent that I don't think they're going to come out of.
Real quick, Dan, I'll get you out of here real quick on this. Israel has been really quiet on the number of IDF and Israeli soldiers that have been killed in these operations. I don't know that we have honest numbers, but from your reporting, do you happen to have a sense of how many Israeli IDF soldiers have been killed in these attacks inside of Lebanon when they've gone into these encampments? Do you have any idea? Because, Israeli moms and fathers, right, when they know that their children are being killed in these operations, and they have no compass, as the Israeli Defense Ministry says, they have no compass to win this war. That's not going to. We know how it goes in Vietnam. We know how it went in Afghanistan. We know how it went in Iraq and the United States. And families are going to demand an answer to this. But anyway, do you have any numbers on this by any chance?
Well, the official numbers of how many Israeli soldiers have been killed since October 7th, and that includes October 7th itself, is 771 right now, which may or may not sound like a lot of soldiers, but when you consider that Israel is a small country, it's actually quite a lot. I mean, if you just compare the population of the United States, what are we, 350 million, where the Jewish Israeli population is 6 million. So if you compare those, I mean, that's many, 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 many times more than 50 times roughly as many soldiers. Imagine that many American soldiers dying in some war, how the American public would be looking at it. And then on top of that, you have more than 11,000 injured. So it's not just a matter of if they're dead or not. It's if they can't fight, if they're dead or injured, it doesn't matter. They cannot fight. So there's more than 11,000 of them. And then you have soldiers who are refusing to enlist, not because of some moral outrage, but because they're psychologically broken. They're defeated. They see we're just going back again and again to the same places that we said we conquered in November and December of 2023, or March or April of this year. And I saw my friends get killed there. Why would I go back there again? So it's getting worse and worse. The Israelis it's just stunning that they've admitted that they don't even have a strategy, and they're continuing to escalate.
Unbelievable. You can read more of Dan's great reporting at Uncaptured Media. His new update on this David Petraeus piece of this concentration camp story is amazing. Dan, great work as always. Great to see you.
Thanks a lot, Clayton.
We want to tell you about our friends at Brightcore Nutrition. Something I found, I've been adding it to my daily protein shake every day now, is just one scoop of their fantastic new Revive Multi-Collagen. I'm telling you, if you're getting older and you feeling aches and pains, you want to feel younger, look younger, it's more hydrated, and it's amazing to have this radiant skin and hair, stronger bones, joints, anti-aging. You'll feel fantastic. So when I make after I go to the gym in the morning and I make my whey protein shake, you can just throw in one scoop. I use the one that doesn't have any flavor to it, but you can get the ones that have flavor if you want. I just use the one that has no flavor. It revives and helps repair and lubricate joints, reduces pain and inflammation, also helps maintain strong bones and prevents the onset of osteoporosis. It has 5 different types of collagen in it. Inside, these ingredients work synergistically to create long-lasting effects. Many collagen products on the market today simply don't deliver the results, and these guys do. They're really fantastic. Right now, you can get 25% off your order with the code REDACTED. Just go to mybrightcore.com/redacted. mybrightcore.com/redacted. Get 25% off. It's easy to mix, all natural, non-GMO. Put it in your favorite drink, and you can get the raspberry lemonade or unflavored, whatever you like. Try it today, or call their 800 number as well, 888-404-6312.